Jessica.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
Fantastic. Who's either side of you? I can just see a couple of heads either side of you, but not quite everybody.
So these
There we
are
go.
my daughters. This is Reagan, and this is Eden.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good, good. And
So first, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you where you are, actually. Where are you in the world?
We're in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Is it hot and sweltering there at the moment?
It is. It is, definitely.
Oh, my gosh. Well, have you got anything you'd like to ask me?
I'm sorry?
Have you got anything
Oh,
that
do
you'd
I
like
have
to
anything
ask?
I'd like to ask you? Well, first off, I do want to say that I think you're an amazingly brilliant actor with immense talent, and the amount of hard work and dedication that you put into your craft is apparent. And I really I can tell that you have a high level of emotional intelligence. And so that really translates on the screen and gives an authenticity and a depth to your performance. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really kind of you.
You're welcome. I guess first question I'm going to start off with, I guess, what would your dream collaboration be? Or is there anyone that you're dying to work with?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've always been a huge fan of Ken Branagh. And I think he's just an amazing actor, but he's also a really talented director as well. So I would love one day to work with him for sure. And then I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Danny Boyle is a British film director who really did Trainspotting and so many movies since then, The Beach and lots of different things. Is someone I've always wanted to work with. And then I don't know. Apart from that, I mean, I just like working with really talented people because it gets me going and it makes me a better actor as well, if you know what I mean.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess my next question would be, what do you specifically look for when you're reviewing a script for a potential role?
I look for something. It's really weird. It's not like I'm looking for anything specifically, but it hits me when something resonates with me. And like more often than not, or not more often than not, but like a lot of the time I'll get scripts and I'll be reading going, yeah, this is okay. But I feel like I've like heard it or read it before. It hasn't got like a specific voice in it. Whereas something like the Lucifer script, when that first came in, it was so different to everything else that I was reading. And it was mainly different because of the way that the character of Lucifer was written. And it kind of hooked me in. And I just, I found myself laughing out loud by about the third or fourth page. I'd laughed several times. I thought, God, I really would love to play this character. So I think finding humor in stuff, even if it's like a regular drama, I think I always need to find some element of comedy there somewhere.
Got it.
Or find the fun.
Awesome. I guess, how do you stay humble despite or amidst the massive success of Lucifer and being considered a global sex icon?
Well, if I said what you just said to my daughters who were sitting next door, they'd be like, "Shut up, Dad." So probably that my kids, just I feel obviously very blessed that the whole thing with Lucifer happened. But I've been working for a long time before that, and so I really kind of worked my way up, as it were, and so by the time the Lucifer experience happened to me, I was already like a fully fledged adult with like kids and a divorce behind me and stuff like that. So I kind of, life is what it is, and I know that this is a job, and I know that I love doing it. And when people respond to it, that's amazing. And so that's the way that I think about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last question is, I watched several of your Black folks discussions that you have on Instagram. And I think it's amazing that you are bringing awareness and keeping those conversations going. My question is, having grown up in the church, what is your unique perspective on the church's role in, I guess, silencing those important conversations?
I mean, that's a great question. It's so weird coming from the UK to the States, in that in the UK, the church and state are completely separate things, and religion is not part of politics at all over here. Whereas you come to the States and it very much is. And I don't think that's I think that Christianity is a good thing, and I think that faith is a good thing, but I think it's easily abused by people. And I think that that it's, there's a lot of vulnerable people within a church, and they're heavily influenced by the leaders of that church. And so, I couldn't get my head. I don't know which way you are politically, but like, I couldn't get my head around the fact that there were people that were actively supporting Donald Trump that then called themselves devout Christians. Because I thought, how can you possibly do that when you can see how much hate this person breeds?
Exactly.
And that is the opposite of what my experience of the church is. Exactly. And so I felt if anyone in church had a responsibility to talk to their congregation, it was about how you need to separate your politics away from your faith. And if Jesus were here today, I don't think he'd be voting Trump. Anyway.
Do you feel like that toxic evangelical Christianity is more of an American concept, or do you feel that it's present in...
I think I think like televangelism, for example, is a very American thing. And it's just something we just don't have here. But I think it can exist, I think it exists on a bigger stage in America. But it's like, it's something that, I don't know, it's so black and white for me, in terms of like, if you are someone with faith, that's one thing. If you are someone with political leanings, that's another thing. But the two can't seem for me to work side by side if one is about peace, forgiveness, love, and tolerance, and the other one is about not being peaceful or loving or tolerant. It just doesn't work for me. So I think it's something that kind of exists everywhere. Unfortunately, people will abuse that, but I think it's on a bigger stage in America for sure, because it's part of the fabric there.
What steps do you feel like the church, or just organized religion as a whole, should take to try to make amends to the communities that have been specifically ostracized? What do you think the first steps are to rectify that situation?
I think that certainly in things like this, actions speak louder than words. So rather than standing there condemning and apologizing, whatever it is you want to do, I think actually going out and meeting people and I think faith is a very powerful thing, but faith is most powerful when it comes from someone's personal experience. So rather than kind of like collectively telling, this, that, and the other, I think like just going to people and just being open and honest with them is always a great start, because people don't want to be told what to do and how to do it.
Very good answer. Thank you so much. I don't know how much time we have left, but
you've got a fair amount of time actually. You've got 122 seconds, whatever that is in real time.
Got it. So this was sort of answered before in the Q&A, but what aspects of your own personality do you feel that you were able to translate through the character Lucifer?
I think that there's a certain cheekiness to Lucifer that is very much like my sense of humor. I grew up watching a lot of comedy that was about suggestive humor as opposed to being crude. It was all about, like a wink and a nod, and something that would go over the kids' heads, but something that the adults knew that they were talking about. Mm-hmm. I think that's very much the sort of level of humor that I exist in. So bringing that to Lucifer was a lot of fun, and then bringing a lot of kind of British expressions to the character that the writers wouldn't have necessarily known otherwise. Right. That's been a lot of fun as well, because I've gotten away with saying a few things that if they knew what that actually meant, I wouldn't have been allowed to say it.
And then I guess I know that you enjoy singing, and I know the general story about the karaoke night that kind of brought about you singing on Lucifer. Mm-hmm. Do you write your own music? Is recording an album ever in sight for you?
I mean, I haven't, but what I would say is that I hadn't sung for a long, long time before Lucifer, and doing the show kind of reignited my love for it, and my confidence about doing it as well. So I think that in the future, for sure. I mean, Debbie Gibson actually has asked me to sing on her Christmas album, so I'm like, yes, definitely. But I think, yeah, definitely moving forward, I'd be very interested in exploring doing some more singing for sure and recording it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Amazing questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.